Hi everyone, and welcome back to Economic Street. It's Ola
and your boy Nicholas
in his clown of a jersey.
Let's go Cowboys.
Life. And as always, we're the show that brings the city to the street, helping you understand your finances so that you can then make decisions to better yourself financially. So today we're joined by a very special guest, Latifat. Yeah? She's also economics grad like ourselves, and she's also an accountant, so you know she's good people's. And we've got quite a good lineup for you today in terms of the agenda. We're going to just jump right into it. So grab a coffee, sit back, relax, and join us. Right, first topic of the day, credit cards. Now, credit card companies have been doing something a little bit sneaky, haven't they? Yeah, they've been putting up people's credit card limits without them knowing. But what does that actually mean? First of all, let's start with that.
So basically, they're putting up people's credit limits without them knowing. So for me, and as an example, they put up my credit limit to, well, it was at 5,000, then they put it up to 6,000 without actually notifying me formally. So usually from the credit card company, I would get a lot of marketing emails, a lot of marketing post through the mail as well, and this is basically how they notified me that I was getting this increase. But unless I went back and said I didn't want this increase, they would have just increased it automatically, and that's exactly what they done. So they increased it from 5k, which it was, and then they increased it to 6k without having my full consent.
Okay. So I'm a bit confused, because why is this necessarily a bad thing? Am I missing the point? Because it's going to offer me more money.
Let's break it down. So, from a perspective of if you're already in debt, so as we were saying, a large amount of the UK are heavily indebted and are using credit cards to buy even just basic necessities. So, if you're not a person that's prudent, and now they've increased your credit limit, some people see this as more money, splurge, more money, which then leads you to being in debt even more. Because if you've now got an extra £1,000 to spend, people go out and max it out again. So that then leads to paying more monthly payments, higher interest rates. So then you're basically getting further into that debt cycle. So unless you're prudent, it's not necessarily a good thing of them increasing your credit limit.
Right, okay. I'm starting to get the picture.
Yeah, and even if you're a prudent person, so for example, me, I'm very prudent and I've planned my finances for the next 5 years. And if you're going through like a process, I don't know, where you need to have your credit increased at a certain specific point in time, that's going to hinder you, because what happens is they increase your credit limit and then you can't have, from your plans, you can't then go and decide that you want to increase this limit further, because you then have to wait another 6 months for them to be able to increase it. So, for example, if they've increased my credit limit in June, for example, but I needed that credit to actually be increased by a larger amount in, I don't know, July or September, I can't then go ahead with that plan because they've already gone and increased my limit. So I have to wait a further 6 months for it to be increased. Right,
okay. So this can affect you if, for example, you want to do home improvement, or you want to, I don't know, something else that you're budgeting for. Yeah. Okay, so just to get a better idea, I've got a credit card now of, let's say, £5,000. I'm thinking maybe in 6 months or in 2 months' time, I'm going to ask them to put it up to £8,000 because I want to do something with that money. But they've kind of gone around behind my back, put it to 6,000 without me knowing. And this basically stops me from asking for £8,000 because there's a time period where you have to wait.
Yeah, because they'll credit score you again.
I see.
So then you got to go for an application today. So you know you've already got a credit card with them. Yeah. They do another credit check to then see if they will approve you with the extra amount.
Right. Okay. So how do you solve this problem then? Because
the thing is, it's key as it's not illegal, because they are technically notifying you when they send you a letter.
Sounds like PPI then.
No, because they are notified, because the thing is, I think what's wrong is that they put, if they don't hear back from you, they automatically increase it. But you think it should be the opposite. If they haven't heard back from you, they should leave it as it is. Yeah. But as people were saying, I think because they send you lots of marketing stuff, people then think, oh, it's another marketing letter, or it's in your pile of envelopes. You don't pay attention to it. Yeah. So that's how they kind of get around it. But I think the opposite would be better. They should have it where if you don't reply back to them, your limit stays as it is, rather than if they don't hear back from you, they increase it automatically. Because technically, they're not doing it behind your back because they are notifying you, but it's just the way they're notifying you and how they're going about it.
Okay, so moving on from that, they've done it now. What can I tell them to do to fix the problem, or there's nothing I can do?
No, you can then tell them to decrease it though.
Okay.
But then again, if in the future you want to increase it, you then have to go through being credit checked again.
Oh, so can they actually decrease your credit limit once you've...
Yeah, you can decrease it at any time, but it's the fact that if once you decrease it though, to increase it again, just know you're gonna get credit checked. So it's ironic. So ironically, they could increase it, say in June, to say 6,000 for example, and then you don't want that. So you ring them and say, no, I want it back at £5,000. But then when you come to January to increase it to say 6,000 again, they technically could credit check you and then reject you. Although you already 6 months ago had it, depending on what the credit score is,
I see.
You can be declined again.
Cool.
So the thing is with me, what I did was I just called them and I said, you need to stop sending me marketing emails. And if you want to increase my credit score, you want to increase my credit limit, you need to call me and, not just...
communicate it better.
Not just, send me post or email me, because that's, how I was getting marketing. I couldn't decipher which one was... which one was more important than another.
Yeah.
So I just told them, stop sending me marketing emails, and if anything's going to impact on my account directly, you need to contact me
by phone. Away. Yeah. That's a good idea. So that's the key takeaway for people. Yeah. Make sure that if it's important information, your bank or your credit company is communicating with you in a way that will make you pick it up. Okay. Moving on from that, there's a side point which I read in an article whereby they were talking about a lot of young people are actually spending essentials or buying essential things on credit cards. So I think like 25 to 34-year-olds, about 1 in 5 of them were doing this within like every 6 months, or in the space of 6 months, 1 in 5 people were relying on credit cards to get by. Now, we know millennials are the ones that have been shafted the most since the recession, with the first generation being worse off than our parents.
Yeah, we are.
So is there a way around this, or are we just going to keep seeing a situation that keeps deteriorating as we...
This is something we've even discussed on some of our previous videos around this topic. It's something that, unfortunately, it's about the individual trying to gain control of their finance. That's the only way of getting around that. And then the only real ways of doing that really is by cutting your costs and budgeting accordingly, or, which is tough to do in this current is also wages. As we're seeing as wage growth has been stagnant. Yeah. Because if you get a pay rise, so wage growth at the moment is growing slowly.
So wages are not going up?
They're not going up. Okay. And then when you factor in, so if you've got more debt but your wages are not going up, your actual disposable income is shrinking. So
the disposable part being what's left over after you pay off.
So once you get paid, you paid your major outgoings, so rent, mortgage, etc. What's left over to spend? So that's reducing. If the fact that your credit card bills are going up, but your wages are not going up by the same amount. So if you can possibly do it, it would be to get pay rise, but I say that's quite difficult. So the best solution would be to try and reduce your costs and budget accordingly to try and reduce what you're spending on your credit card.
Okay, so give me a practical example of that. Like, how would I go about reducing my cost?
Budgeting every single month. I think people get into a habit where they think, okay, I have budgeted, I've made this budget, but they're not updating it. So for me, I always say that in each and every new month, I need a new budget. So you can use like last month's budget as a template, but you know that every month is different. And if you have any major outgoings, then you need to cut. Yeah, you need to reflect that in your budget, and you need to cut what you might normally spend in that month. And then another thing is as well is the whole spending on your credit card is not necessarily a bad thing. So for me, what I used to do was spend like the fixed cost that I had, like travel, for example, my Oyster card payments.
So these are fixed costs because they
happen every month, and I know that these are costs that are going to be happening each and every month.
Okay.
So I would use that on my credit card and pay that before the month ends, and then at the start of a new month, again, pay for my next new month's travel costs. So I think if you are going to spend on your credit card, you have to be smart about it and not just spend on disposable things like clothes and things that don't really matter. If you're spending using your pumping shots at the club, like, it doesn't make any sense. So you just if you're going to use your credit card, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think people have to be smart and be timely with it as well.
That's very true, but I think what's key, I think the worrying thing is that, as you said in the article, people are spending it on what you call essentials. So it's not actually, as you said, the clothing or the champagne. It's actual essentials, food, travel. So it's a catch-22. It's something that it's a hard situation to deal with, if we're being honest. As I said, the two main ways are getting a pay rise, so then you can adjust accordingly, or cutting costs and budgeting. But because of the fact that it's essential goods in the first place, you have to make that difficult decision and really know what is essential. I know it's a difficult decision, but that's something that you'd have to look into yourself and see is this really essential? It's a sad state of affairs, but that's just the reality of it.
I always say as well, because we're millennials, like we're that generation. If we don't like something that we're getting, switch.
We move on.
Move on, fam. Like, just we can't be lazy about this. So for me, I always say, like, basics. Always, like, every year, switch, like, your insurance.
True.
Try and get a cheaper deal. Your phone bill, like your phone provider, your TV broadband provider, all of them switch. Use a cheaper car if you have to. Just try and cut back. TV. We've got internet now. Spare package.
I ain't promoting anything. I ain't saying anything.
This guy is different.
But you know what? As well, I think it's important. Talking about switching your job and your wage. If you're not happy with the wage that you're getting, I think a lot of people our age and younger, they're really scared to negotiate their wage and ask for a pay rise.
It's a scary topic.
It's a scary topic, but what's more scary is going into debt. And I always say that the only answer you can get is no. And if you get a no, okay. But what about if it's a yes? And if you don't ask, you don't get. So
that's true.
You need to be very proactive when it comes to getting that wage that you want, because nobody else is going to get it for you. That's your responsibility. So if you're not happy with your wage, then ask for a pay rise and don't be scared to negotiate for what you're currently getting paid.
Wow. We're going to move on to our next topic, which is one that's, I've had a lot of requests to talk about this on this show. So we're going to start that today. It's pensions. It's not everybody's favourite topic, but it's very important because this affects all of us, whether you like it or not, young and old. You're going to have to eventually deal with this. So, before we even delve into it, can you just explain what a pension is?
Well, pensions, I know for me, you can get a workplace pension or you can get a private pension, and it's just what you get paid on a month to month after you go into retirement. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So a pension is literally like a savings.
Yes, basically it's a lump sum of money that you've saved up over a period of time that you use once you get to retirement, that you use that money to then smooth out the rest of your spending once, because you're not getting no working income.
You're not getting a salary anymore.
That's correct.
So this acts as your salary.
Correct. So you use that pot of money, you spread that across the remainder of your life to then help smooth out your income and transactions.
Okay. There's one, so just to let people know, pension is a savings account basically for retirement. There are different types of pensions.
Correct.
So there's the state pension, which you get through your national insurance contributions. I think in America it's called Social Security.
Social Security, yeah.
You don't need to worry too much about that because that one is not really in your control. That one is determined by government. And to be honest, it's not enough.
It's not saving you anything.
It's not going to be enough for retirement. If you're dependent on a state pension, boy,
you got
be
it.
prepared to live on the street.
120 something pounds.
It's like 159 at the moment per week. That's not a lot of money these days. Yeah. So the main one is what we call a workplace pension. So this is the one that will be deducted from your salary on a monthly basis. And your firm can also actually contribute to this. So they will earn a certain percentage of what you can contribute. They'll also add this to that pot with the intention of giving you more money for retirement.
Because there was actually a big drive by the government to make firms
start one.
Yeah, start one. If you saw all those adverts about, are you in auto enrollment? I'm in. Yeah. Through the adverts, that was a big drive for the government pushing firms to start workplace pensions.
It's actually a legal requirement now for them to provide a workplace pension. And then the third one is what's called a personal pension, where you can set one up for yourself. Yeah. They're called SIPs, so a self-invested personal pension. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was the fact that this pot of money is not just sitting there somewhere. The money is actually invested for you on your behalf with the intention of growing that pot of money to give you more money for retirement. Now, the reason it's important to know this, people, is because you can actually have a control over, number one, who that money is invested with and what product is in. So if, for example, you already save and invest on a regular basis, the process is the same. You can find out who your provider is. Your workplace has to tell you, and you can also choose the products that money is invested in. And the reason this is very important is because you can't just, if you don't know what your money is invested in, it could be losing money or not growing. And that means you're not going to have nearly enough for retirement. Because what did they say? You need close to how much enough for retirement?
So just for example, they say the average UK wage is £27,000 a year. Yeah. So if you want to have around that amount of money after you retire, they say you need at least $500,000 to have. Yeah, you need so $500,000 to be able to have
a good life.
Yeah, of £27,000 a year income.
Wow. Okay.
Now, how much is that $500,000 supposed to tide you over for?
Well, that's at the current life expectancy. So, but with, as I said, with life expectancy increasing
all the time, I'm looking to be here to 85, 90.
So that's the next thing.
I'm here for 100.
Oh yeah. No, but that's what I'm trying to say. If you're going to be here for 85, 90 years and you're retiring at 65, boy, it's going to be peak out here for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for me.
Cool. So this is why you need to understand that your money is invested and you can actually have control and say over that. Similar to how you pick your car insurance provider, you can actually pick your investments. And the more you start understanding that, the better it is for you to then, manage your money and hopefully grow it so you have enough. But we're going to take a break right there and then we'll be right back after this.
So the question is, if you're part of the workplace pension, what would you advise people to save? How much would you advise people to save?
That's a hard one.
Because I know it's like a 1%, 5%, and
1%, 2%, 3%.
Anything.
Yeah, anything up to.
So they depend on your company.
Yeah.
So companies will generally the max they will match up to 10.
14. I thought it was 14. No.
No, it depends. Well, I know in my old company, they matched up to 10%. But the companies that only match up to 8%. So
I think my company matches up to 10.
Yeah.
So it varies on. So they will give they give if you do 5, they match. Is it then effectively you're getting 20% because with the role depending on the company.
So I guess advising on millennials like us, what would you say would be?
I would say
it's tough. It's where you want to get to in terms of because then what you could do is basically judge it on an amount of because we were going to talk about investments. Yeah. Judge it into amount of look at if you do safe investments, and then look at basically do a projection, because obviously we talked about, for example, if you want £27,000 a year for the rest of retirement.
You're not saving that much right now to get to 27.
That's what I'm saying. So it's so tough where
the line is. I would say the most important thing, it depends on your salary bracket.
And what you can afford.
It depends on your salary bracket and your outgoings. Let's say, we can both be on the same wage of 40 grand, but I've got a kid, I've got a wife, and you don't, or you've got a mortgage, I don't. So there's
different factors.
I would say save as much as you possibly can. There is an alternative now, because the reason I'll say that is because obviously your workplace is also going to match it. They're going to contribute. So some workplaces, it will be like, if you pay 1% of your salary, I'll give you 1% extra. If you pay 2%, 3%, I'll match that. Some other places is a bit more generous. If you pay 1%, I'll give you 2 additional %.
It will depend on the company.
The most important thing is save as much as you can, and then also remember now that there's also a lifetime ISA. So a lifetime ISA can be used for either buying your first house or for retirement. The difference between a lifetime ISA and a regular pension is the fact that with a lifetime ISA, you're not going to get taxed on the money that you save and make through the investment. On a pension, once you get to retirement and you start taking it, they will tax you because that money's never been taxed.
That's crazy.
So that's the thing. So right now, and that's the thing, you don't know what the tax is going to be in 50 plus years when you retire.
Yeah.
But you know the tax position now. So do you want to use an ISA or do you want to use a normal pension? There's pros and cons. Like I said, if you use a regular pension in the workplace, your employer will contribute. But with an ISA, you won't get taxed on it when you get to retirement. So that's like the things you have to weigh up. So that's pension. That's just a quick insight into pension, and just know that the money is actually invested. So this is the part I wanted to talk about a little bit more. So we've talked before on the show about ISAs and how you can invest in something called mutual funds.
Correct.
In ISAs, because how mutual funds are designed is like it's a
self-made portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I mean portfolios, it's got different assets within that mutual fund.
Assets being like things that make you money.
So things, as we said before, government bonds, shares, ETFs, which are electronically traded funds. So
exchange traded funds. Sorry. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. So you want to invest. You're either an investor or you're investing for your pension.
Yeah.
So if you want to invest in a product, you can. There are forms out there that you'll fill out, and basically those forms are just basically trying to gauge whether you like taking risk or not, or what level of risk that you like, which
Correct.
is called risk appetite.
Correct.
Based off that, it will then recommend products for you to invest in. Yes. And all these products, ultimately, they're trying to do the same thing in terms of making money. Yeah. But they go about it
different ways. So the key thing is, even what's known as a safe investment has the potential to lose money.
Okay. Yeah.
But what they're doing when they rated all the different products is some of the more riskier products may lose you money quicker than a safe product. But on the flip side, it may increase in net worth a lot faster than a safe product.
Right, okay. I see what you mean. So it's, let's give people a practical example.
A government bond. That's one of your...
Yeah, so a government bond is considered as a safe investment.
Because it's IOUs. Basically, you're lending to the government.
Yeah, and government is usually seen as...
relatively safe. It's very rare that a government would default. So it is possible. That's why it's not risk, but
it's not 100% proof.
Correct. Yeah, so they're known as what's one of the most safest products. But then on the flip side, you could have something like a share in a company. So like say a share in Tesco's,
which is more risky.
Yeah,
but the Tesco has the potential to make you more money than a government bond because of the very fact that it's more risky.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, put in a way, it's like the difference between someone going to a theme park to get an adrenaline rush or like for their fun versus bungee jumping or skydiving.
Yeah,
there's different risks attached.
Or just walking to the park. It's just
with the baby in the pram. So that's pretty much it. But the reason, so people need to understand that there are investments out there, and there's a lot of them.
One last quick advice I would say is that the annual statements you get from your pension providers, whether you look at them.
Yeah, so make sure you know your customer ID and contact your the person that your pension is invested with.
Yeah.
And ask them, talk me through this. What is my pension currently invested in?
Yeah.
How much is it currently worth? Which your statement will show.
Correct.
But then you can also look at how much it was worth before and seeing if it's gone up or down.
Correct,
and
definitely.
by how much.
Because most people just get their statement, file it away.
And that's it. They don't care. But you need to, because otherwise... Yeah.
So just for people who won't know, what exactly should they be looking at on that statement?
Cool, break it down. Cool. You want to go?
As I said, what you're invested in, how much you've put in, what the current value of the portfolio is, and I say customer number, definitely. But certain people don't take notes of that, and then like years later try to find out and get in touch with their pension providers, and they're like,
they have no idea.
Yeah, so that's actually another question. What about if you're someone who's switched jobs? So
good question.
Very good question. So usually what would happen is that you will start a new pension with your new employer, but you can actually merge all your pensions from your different jobs. You could ask, they will send you special forms with your statement to say, do you have pensions with other people? It's up to you. It's optional. You don't have to merge them.
Yeah.
But you can, just to make it easier for you to centrally manage.
Yeah, because you don't have all different things
flying everywhere.
Where you got pension pot here, pension pot there. So a lot of people just like to merge them. Yeah. But just to make note, when you do merge them, the value can be affected of what's transferred into the new pension.
Yeah. Even with let's say you even stay with the same employer, but you want to change the person that's managing the money on their behalf, you can.
Okay.
So you can switch companies, providers. So usually, some of the big names that you'll hear is like Scottish Widows,
Legal and
General. So if your pension is, for example, with Scottish Widows and you're not happy with them, you can put in what's called a transfer and move to a different company, because that company either has a better track record or they have a better range of products that you can choose from.
But can you do that in a company pension though?
Yeah, I did that.
No, in the sense of, so say you're with your current company, they use Scottish Widows. Yeah. You can then transfer to someone else.
I think so, yeah. It's up to you where your money is, and then they will just keep making that contribution to that new company. Sometimes, not all companies are flexible.
Okay, so it is company dependent.
I think it is company dependent.
Cool.
But yeah, there is
something
for it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so because you might like the products elsewhere. So yeah, definitely. And this is why it's important to know your customer number, because then you can call up the company and ask them, explain this, X, Y, Z. I need to know what my rights are. And then, you can start exploring your options, because the one thing I always say is, or the word I always check out is to actively manage your investments. Yeah. Don't just leave it there and just admire it from a glance. Because, you need to make the most money as possible for your retirement, and the best way to do that is to take an active interest in it. And you can start monitoring funds, seeing how they perform, because usually they will rank their performance.
Correct, yeah.
Or they will show you how much, they'll say this one made 10% this year, or this one made 14%, or this one lost 15%. So you can start saying, okay, maybe I want to switch. Okay. The one thing they'll always say, they'll always caveat it or disclaimer by saying past performance is not a guarantee of future return. And it's true, but it's still a good indicator.
Yeah.
So that's just a quick intro to pensions. We're going to be talking about this a lot more. So keep sending in your questions, your comments. We'll definitely respond to it. But we're going to move on now. So our third and final point for today, which is to do with what's going to happen this week by the government, the budget. So I think it's Wednesday.
Yep.
The autumn budget is coming out. So this is where the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is basically the Finance Minister, announces the government's plans for the year ahead in terms of how they're going to be spending money, or how they're going to be raising money in terms of taxes, like tax changes. So the major one that people our age are interested in and it's been a big issue in the media recently, is housing.
Indeed.
Because we're struggling to get on the housing ladder. It's very tough. And so they're going to make a major announcement, we think, on housing. Now, what's come out is that, or what's rumoured to be happening is that they're going to promise to build 300,000 houses.
I find that very funny.
Yeah. Explain.
In my opinion, I don't really think it's the shortage of houses only that they need to be focusing on. They need to be focusing on who are the people getting those houses, because it's all well and good you building all these houses, but if they're not getting to the people that need them, then what's the point? So I know, well, while I was trying to look for houses and, going from estate agents to estate agents, trying to figure out what city I wanted to buy in, I knew that people like Chinese investors and Russian investors and Nigerians and whoever wanted to come and buy in England could very easily come buy multiple properties and
squeeze you out.
And it's literally like a price war.
Yeah.
So it's not just about building the houses, it's putting plans in place that these houses get to the people that actually need them.
Yes, I think it's the affordability of the houses.
Okay.
That's the key thing.
Because house prices are mad.
Yeah, especially in London as well. Generally, house prices are mad, but especially in London, house prices, which we've discussed previously about the various schemes that the government are trying to do to incentivize buying. But as we've seen, or from my own personal opinion, those schemes are not really working within London. And you're seeing especially for our millennial generation, it's so hard to get on that property ladder. And then, as we've discussed previously as well, property back in the old days was one of the first form of asset building.
Capital.
And that's
how you build wealth
in the long run. And and that first step has been taken away from a lot of people. And that was the same for our parents and grandparents, etc. That was one of the first key stages.
Which is why a lot of young people are now voting Labour, because of their promises.
Yeah.
That's a separate point. So, I find this a bit funny because, you're saying you're going to build 300,000 houses, which is a good policy because you're going to appeal to voters. But now you're just playing catch up with other parties like Labour. 2, how are you going to build, you currently have a target of building, 250,000 houses?
Hitting that target.
And you're not even hitting that target. So how are you going to hit 300,000? So this is what I'm finding funny. It's interesting. I hope it helps because I want to get a house. So, but I just want to see how they'll actually go about, executing this and implementing this, like you said, because of the issues that you guys have mentioned.
So I know they said they've also got in the budget, I think, was it 10 million or more for the Help to Buy scheme and improving the Help to Buy scheme. So it'll be interesting to see what they add to this scheme, because I think it was very obvious that the Help to Buy ISAs, they didn't really work, per se, and the lifetime ISA, they're still a bit.
It's just starting out, so
it's still starting out.
Issues.
Yeah, and my personal opinion, I don't really like it because of the 25% penalty you get for taking out your money early. So I think
explain that. So basically, you get penalised if you need to take your money out.
So
in emergency.
So with the lifetime ISA, you actually get penalised for taking out your money, the money that you have already saved in there, if it's not to buy your house or for a pension. So life always happens.
True.
Something might come up where you need to take that money out and you're going to be hit heavily. And this is not just a 25% bonus that you get paid. It actually hits
on the actual money that
you're saving. Yeah. So that doesn't really work. So it'll be interesting to see what adjustments they're going to make and if they're going to bring out a new product. Yeah. Because as well, we were discussing the Help to Buy ISA. It's quite limited because you can only save £200 a month in there. So there's still a lot of work to be done in that area
for us. Yeah.
And it'll be interesting.
It's just a wait and see game, really.
Because we broke this down off camera before, but we know that, the top line is this: there's a shortage of housing.
Yeah.
So because supply is limited, that means prices are always going to keep going up. They're in an upward trajectory. But it's what's happening in the short to medium term. So in the short to medium term, we know Brexit is happening, which can affect which can see house prices start to fall. If it does, it makes it a little bit easier for us to get on the property ladder because we don't need as big as a deposit. But then the other side of the argument is the fact that interest rates are not going back up
because of inflation.
Because of inflation.
So then, even if you can get the property, the cost of your mortgage payments
is going to go up.
So you need to. It'd be difficult, but trying to offset balancing the cheaper house, but higher mortgage. So it's a
but again, as well, it's like I think people mainly struggle with building that deposit amount.
That's very true. That's the key.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well, there's something in the budget about cutting stamp duty and stamp duty
on property.
Yeah, so that could really help.
Stamp duty being the tax that you pay as a purchaser.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is just another tax. It's not used for anything. You're throwing money away. But a cutting stamp duty would really help.
Because that's usually like $7,000.
Depending on the value
of the property as well.
So it'll be interesting to see. But what I was saying is, so getting the deposit amount is a struggle. But usually paying the mortgage is a lot easier.
That's very true. Yeah, because people have got, for example, because they're paying that money in rent anyway.
Yeah.
So having it be easier if instead of giving that money to someone else, because in the private sector we've seen how much the private sector is going crazy in terms of the rent charges.
The private sector being
people that already own
renting from landlords and stuff like that, as opposed to council housing.
Yeah, because the council houses are near enough non-existent. It's very, but in terms of most people are in the private sector renting. Yeah. So as you say, people have already got that. As you said, people have already got that money to pay, but because they haven't got the deposit, they can't get on the housing ladder.
So mum and dad then.
And not everyone's got that. Mm-hmm. So you're just stuck, you're just in this loop and you're just paying someone else's mortgage because the private landlord, they're like, you're paying their mortgage essentially.
That's true. That is the argument. That's how a lot of them keep building property portfolios, because if you get one and then have tenants covering the mortgage, keep saving. It's mad. It's mad out here. Okay, so how do you get a deposit then? Just keep scrimping away bit by bit.
It's the grind, and I think it's just get the help where you can. Okay. So even though the help to buy ISAs, the lifetime ISAs they have their disadvantages, they have their weaknesses, but having a mixture of all these things that are out there to help you, put them into use. And I think it's just stay on the grind. Save. Because I always ask myself this question: what about if, in fact, the crash didn't happen? Would I still struggle to save for a house? Probably I would. If the economy was doing well, because you still have to provide this crazy amount of money. So, it's trying to just block out all these external things that's going on and just keep on the grind and take the help
but I think,
where you can.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think where the pre-crisis, you didn't need that crazy amount of money because
you can get 100% mortgage.
Mortgages.
Or even more than that. Like we said, some people were getting 100% of the value of the house plus more to go shopping.
So
I need that.
Just throw money.
So I guess that's where the crisis has affected in terms of the deposit needs, because they were giving you
the help, all the help,
or not the help, but the 100% mortgages,
plus more.
Yeah, in some cases.
Bottom line, you should have been born in a different decade.
Yeah, we can't control that one.
It's all good. But yeah, guys, that's just a quick insight into the world of credit cards, pensions, politics. Keep it locked. Send in your questions, your comments. Let us also know what you want us to talk about. I hope you found this very helpful. Any last words from you guys?
Check out the YouTube channel. Press the subscribe button.
Push it, yeah.
Click subscribe, people. And
like the pages.
Look out for us on Instagram and Facebook.
The funny thing is that we actually do not put the same material on every single platform. So we want you to go after the information. It's out there, it's free for you, but you have to go after it. So what you will see on Instagram is not the same thing that you see on Facebook. It's not the same thing on the website.
And it's on YouTube.
So you have to follow us everywhere. So plug it. You can also check out Latifat and what she does on Pretty Budget. Search for Pretty Budget on Instagram.
Yeah.
be working a lot more together. So yeah, definitely want to keep it locked. Let us also know what topics you want us to cover in the future. And yeah,
Stay tuned, guys.
stay tuned. Till next time.